Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to explain the Lit Circle process to you. I'm going to explain the choices for books, and then you are going to decide which are your top 3 choices for books. So as we go into our next unit after break, you're going to be reading in literature circles. You've done this briefly with Ms. Bauer and with myself on a single day basis, but this is going to be a 5-week long process. So the way this is going to work is that you are going to choose a book. Based on your selections, I'm going to put you into Lit Circle groups, and then that group is going to work together independently and have some class time for 5 weeks. On Monday of each week, your group is going to meet. You're going to divide up the work. You're going to decide how you are going to go about that week with the vocabulary, the different questions, the things that you need to do. And then over the course of the week on your own, you're going to need to read. Advisory would be a good time for this. You could do it at home. You're going to be able to take the books home, so you'll be able to have access to those. You're going to have jobs and discussions that you need to complete on Schoology on your own. So if you don't have access to the internet, you can come here to do that, or you can do it from the library, or you can do it from another classroom. And then on Fridays, your group will meet again in class to discuss the reading for that portion, to complete whatever jobs you need to complete after you've discussed, and to talk about the next week. For these Lit Circles, you will have an individual final project, and you will also have a group presentation, which is a book talk of sorts to the class. Okay, we're going to go through these books today, and what I want you to think about when you're choosing the book is to pick a book that is something you can read independently on your own, but that is a little bit of a challenge. You obviously also want to pick something that is interesting to you, and then you're going to choose 3 books. You're going to rank them 1, 2, and 3, and once you've done that, then I will put you into literature circle groups. So I can't guarantee you all that you'll get your first choice, but I will try to give you one of your top 3. So with that in mind, let's look at the books. So our first book is called War Horse. Albert is a farm horse who is working with a young boy named Joey on a farm. When World War I breaks out, Albert's father sells Albert to the British cavalry, and so the rest of the story is about Albert's experience in the war and Joey's experience in the war, and Albert and Joey's efforts to try to find each other. Private Peaceful is all about a young soldier during World War I, and him going back and forth with his childhood and trying to remember. The Silver Donkey is also World War I. Are you noticing a trend? The Silver Donkey is World War I, and it's about 2 sisters who come across a soldier in the woods, and he's a deserter, and he is trying to find his little brother who is sick, and the soldier is telling the children stories throughout the novel. It is a really good description of the Battle of World War II, and it also really humanizes how young these soldiers were. The next book is called Maisie Dobbs. Maisie Dobbs isn't just any young housemaid. Maisie Dobbs is a mystery novel that is set during World War I. If you like mysteries, if you like female protagonists, female main characters, this would be a good book for you. The next book that we have is called Stay Where You Are and Then Leave. So this book is about Alfie Summerfield, whose father promises him that he won't go to war when World War I breaks out, and the very next day he goes back on what he said and he enlists. And this story is about how his father disappears, and Alfie goes on a quest to try to find him, because 4 years later Alfie sees his father's name on a list of medical records, medical paperwork for a military doctor. So he decides that he's going to go and find his father. Boston Girl is written by Anita Diamant, who is one of my favorite authors. So this story is kind of a coming-of-age novel about Addie Baum, who is a young woman in Boston in 1915, which was the beginnings of World War I. So this story is a little bit more advanced of a novel, but it's amazingly well written, and Anita Diamant is a wonderful author who really gives you a place in the life of Addie Baum throughout this story, and you really get to learn about her frustrations with her parents, who are first-generation immigrants and who don't understand the American culture and really don't trust the American culture, and her trying really hard to just be an all-American girl. So that's Boston Girl. And last but not least is our favorite drunken author, Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway wrote A Farewell to Arms, which is very loosely based on his own experience during World War I. Ernest Hemingway went and fought in the Spanish Civil War and then in World War I, and he came back a very changed man. He was very tortured for the rest of his life, but he wrote A Farewell to Arms, which is an excellent depiction of what life was like during World War I, but it's also a love story. It's a very tumultuous love story about a soldier and a nurse who meet during World War I. So that is A Farewell to Arms. Those are your choices, ladies and gentlemen. You have access to the voting slips. They're going to be up by the projector. So once you've watched this, if you need to watch it a couple of times, you can do that, or just scroll back and forth and read some of the descriptions. And then I want you to pick your top 3 choices for which book you would like to read for your reading group. I will also have as many of the books as I've been able to get access to so far up on the table underneath the screen so that you can see them. You can touch them, you can see how big they are, all of those things. You can flip through them and see, what kind of words are in them, how many pages, all of those things. Remember, I want you to give me your first, second, and third choices, and then I will have your Literature Circle assignments for you when you are back from break. So thank you very much. This is my very first screencast, and I am signing off.